like to orient you to the basic anatomy of the larynx. Okay, so what you are seeing, so basically what is larynx? You can basically what happens is, yes, so basically this is the mouth that you're having. Okay, and here you have the nose. Fine, and finally both meet at the pharynx. Fine, and again they divide into the esophagus and the pharynx. Fine, I'm sorry, pharynx. No, it's not pharynx. It's larynx. Okay, so basically you can see this is a person, and so basically it's said that air enters through nose and then it goes into larynx, while food enters through mouth and goes into the esophagus. So basically you need to know that there should be something which prevents food from going into the larynx. So we basically have a cartilage that is known as the epiglottic cartilage, and it's somewhere here. Okay, like this. And you know what happens while you eat is basically this is the cartilage that you have, and when you eat, the cartilage closes the larynx and the food goes from here to here. Okay, so that is what I wanted to tell you, and this is basically your whole larynx. Okay, and the view that I've shown here is basically the front view of the larynx, and I've drawn the cartilages that can be seen from the front view. Okay, so let us begin. So basically the bone that you are seeing here is the hyoid bone. This is the thyroid cartilage. This is the cricoid cartilage, and this all are tracheal rings. Okay, so basically as you can also feel in your own body that here you see one bony prominence which is of hyoid, and then you can see this in males generally there is Adam's apple, which is actually formed by the where the angle at where the alas of the thyroid cartilage meet. So basically this is the angle where the thyroid cartilage meet. Okay, fine. So basically that is the Adam's apple that you see in males. Okay, fine. Then what you can see here is that cricoid cartilage is a complete ring cartilage. Okay, this is the only cartilage which is present throughout anteriorly and till the posterior side. Okay, so I hope I am able to convey what I'm meaning to say. See, what happens is if you are seeing the larynx from superior view, thyroid is just like this. Okay, so posteriorly thyroid cartilage is absent. Fine, so there is a gap here. You can see that there is a gap here in the thyroid cartilage posteriorly. Okay, so basically the only cartilage which is complete is the cricoid cartilage. Fine, so that is it. Now I want you to tell I want to tell you two membranes which is very simple. Okay, see, the membrane which is connecting the thyroid and hyoid is the thyrohyoid membrane, and the membrane which connects the thyroid and cricoid is the cricothyroid membrane. Fine. Now also what I want you to know in this image itself is one muscle that I've shown here is the cricothyroid muscle. As you can see in the image, it connects the thyroid cartilage with the cricoid cartilage, so it is the cricothyroid muscle. Fine, so I hope I've conveyed the anatomy clearly. Okay, so we will be moving on into details of the muscles of the larynx. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so basically what we were seeing was the front view. Now I'm seeing obliquely and a little posterior. Fine, so you can see that this is the anterior side, this is the posterior side. Okay, and we are viewing from cross. Fine, and we have cut the thyroid cartilage. So this is the hyoid bone. Okay, this is hyoid bone, this is the thyroid membrane, this is the thyroid cartilage, and this whole is the thyroid cartilage. Okay, this whole is the thyroid cartilage. Fine. And as you can see here, this is the cricoid cartilage. Fine. And it is a full ring. Now the cricoid cartilage, on the cricoid cartilage you can see that two cartilages are sitting, which are the arytenoid cartilages. Okay, so these are the arytenoid cartilages. Okay, so if you view from the top, what happens is, I'll tell you. Basically this is the cricoid. Fine. Then there is thyroid, which is above it. On them sits, thyroid is incomplete as I told you. Okay, and on the cricoid sits the arytenoids. From the arytenoids goes the vocal cords. Fine. So I hope this picture gets clear in your mind. Fine. So basically I will rub all this so you can understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, so I hope this is clear. So again, you can see this is the thyroid, and from it posteriorly the epiglottis goes above. Okay, so if I see a cut section, and if I'm seeing from laterally, then this would be the image. Okay, so what happens is, this is the larynx, this here posteriorly is the esophagus, and as the food passes, the epiglottis closes. So you can see that epiglottis is attached to the posterior side of the ala of thyroid cartilage. Okay, so that is clear to all of us. Fine. Basically, so here in this image I've shown the thyroid cartilage to you with the blue color. Okay, so I hope this whole orientation of this larynx is pretty much clear. Fine. Now here from the epiglottis you can see one membrane going to the arytenoids. Okay, so basically it is like a quadrangular shaped, where here there is epiglottis. Fine. Here there are arytenoids, and basically these are aryepiglottic folds. Fine. So basically this is the quadrangular membrane, and the bottom part of a quadrangular membrane forms false vocal cord. Okay, here you can see one more membrane, which is conus elasticus, and the topmost part forms the true vocal cord. Fine. So basically here that you are seeing is the, I'm sorry, I'll change the color so that you understand. So this you are seeing is connecting the epiglottis to the arytenoid. So this is known as the aryepiglottic fold. Okay, so this is the aryepiglottic fold. Fine. So here you are seeing is the aryepiglottic fold. Now let's see some other structures. So I hope I made things clear. This is the true vocal cord, this is the false vocal cord, this here is the quadrangular membrane, this is the conus elasticus, and here you are seeing the top part of the quadrangular membrane is the aryepiglottic fold. So basically this is the laryngeal inlet that I've shown here. Okay, so this here I have shown is the laryngeal inlet. So what is the so food will pass from the laryngeal inlet into the larynx. Okay, So basically, what is forming the laryngeal inlet? The epiglottis, the airy epiglottic fold, and the arytenoids. Okay, so this is the laryngeal inlet, and as soon as the the air will pass through this pathway into the trachea. Here will be the tracheal rings. Okay, so as soon as the food will come, here somewhere would be the tongue, and food will come, this whole epiglottis will close like a flap and meet here. Okay, so basically this is the way the epiglottis closes. Okay, so as soon as the food will come from here, the epiglottis comes down and closes. So these are the important structures. Next diagram that we are going to see. Okay, so let's see. Now we will move on to the actions of all the muscles. Okay, so basically first we'll be talking about the how the epiglottis is closed and opened. Fine, so let me orient you first with the diagram. This is the thyroid cartilage, this is the epiglottis that you're seeing here, this is the true vocal cord that you're seeing here. The membrane that I showed you earlier, I've rubbed it, so it just helps you better understand the anatomy. Okay, this is the lateral view. Suppose we have cut the whole larynx, and this is what we are going to see. Fine, this here is the cricoid, which is also cut. Fine, and here is the arytenoid. Fine, now any muscle name is just the name which it connects, the two structures which it connects. Suppose let's take this muscle. Okay, so the muscle connects the thyroid cartilage and the epiglottis. It connects the thyroid cartilage and the epiglottis, so it is known as thyroepiglotticus. Okay, the second muscle that I've drawn here connects the epiglottis with the arytenoid, so it is known as aryepiglotticus. Now you can obviously see that if I want to open the laryngeal inlet, the muscle that is going to act will be thyroepiglotticus. So the larynx is going to move in this direction. So obviously I need to take the help of thyroepiglotticus. Suppose I want to close the laryngeal inlet and the food is going to pass through the esophagus, then I am going to take help of the this muscle that I've drawn here is the aryepiglotticus. Okay, so these are the simple two muscles, and you don't need to just you just don't need to remember and just don't understand the concepts, because it doesn't help that way. You can't remember for long. So if you understand it this way, how it acts, the arrows that I've shown here just tells the action, the direction of action, and if you remember it this way, you can remember it for long. Fine, now let's move on to another muscle that I've shown in this picture, and the muscle that I've shown in this picture is the cricothyroid. Okay, so basically what happens is when the cricothyroid contracts, this part of the cricoid ring moves upwards. Okay, so the anterior part of the cricoid ring moves upwards. So basically you know that cricoid is a ring, so when one part of the ring moves upwards, obviously the other part moves downwards, so this part will move downward. Okay, so the other posterior part of cricoid cartilage moves downwards. Fine, so what happens is you can see that the distance between the arytenoid and the thyroid will increase, so it will tense the vocal cord. Fine, distance between this increases. Okay, so I hope you understood the mechanism how the thyroarytenoid works. Fine, so let's move to next group of muscles. Okay, so the abductor. Basically, what you are seeing here is the cricoid cartilage, the arytenoid, the thyroids, and this is a superior view. Okay, so as you can see in the superior view very clearly that the thyroid cartilage is only incomplete and the cricoid is complete. Fine. So basically the muscle, how do you name the muscle? The two structures it connects. So which two structures are it connecting? It is connecting the cricoid and the arytenoid, and it is located posteriorly. This is the anterior side, this is the posterior side. It is located posteriorly, so it is posterior cricoarytenoid. In the black arrows I've shown that how it functions. Basically this will contract, so it's like a liver. This is the liver. Fine. If this end is going this side, so obviously this end will move this side. Fine. And same with this. If this posterior end is moving towards the medial side, then the anterior end will move outward. Okay, so it's like if this is one stick and I fixed a stick with I've fixed a stick in the center. In the center I've fixed the stick with a nail, suppose. Fine. And I'll push this stick from this side, then what side will the other end move? It will move towards this side. So that's how it works. Fine. So it is an abductor. Fine. So posterior cricoarytenoid is an abductor of vocal cord. It is the only abductor, so very important, you need to remember that it is an abductor of vocal cord. Fine. So I hope you understood the mechanism by which it works. Now let's move on to the second picture, the last group of muscles, that is adductor muscles. Okay. Sorry, first we'll, adductor. So the adductor muscles that we are having in this picture, so basically it is connecting what two structures? Yes, it is connecting the two arytenoids, so it is known as interarytenoid. This here are the vocal cords, and again this is a superior view, with this is the anterior side, posterior side. Fine. So it is an interarytenoid. Fine. In this picture I have not shown a cricoid, which is below. Okay, so basically the muscle that you seeing here, the muscle that you are seeing here connects the arytenoid with the cricoid. So this muscle will be known as cricoarytenoid. But because it is located laterally, it is lateral cricoarytenoid. What happens is the arrows shows the mechanism of action. Fine. So basically when it contracts, it will bring these two processes together, and that's why it adducts the vocal cord. And when the lateral cricoarytenoid contracts, it again, what happens is this, the lever, one side of the one end of the rod is moved this anteriorly, so the other end will be moved posteriorly. Okay, so that is how this whole thing works. Now let's see the last group of muscles, and that is the tensors of vocal cord. So basically tensors of vocal cord are true, the cricothyroid, and the mechanism by which it tenses the vocal cord I've shown you in the earlier image. Okay, and the another one is the vocalis. Okay, so basically what happens is tensors of vocal cord means does not mean that it increases the tension always. Okay, so the cricothyroid increases the tension and the vocalis decreases the tension, but both are known as tensors of vocal cord. Okay, this is the thing that makes you confused, that okay, tensors means increases tension. No, it can decrease tension also. Okay, and the thyroarytenoid muscle I've shown here. Okay, and the vocalis is actually a part of thyroarytenoid which arises here and meets the vocal cord. Okay, so basically what happens is, when you suppose you just imagine that this is a block. Fine, these are two blocks which are fixed, and between them is a string, when I which is very tight. Fine, when I bring the block close, when I bring the blocks closer, obviously the string will become loose and the tension will decrease. Fine, so that is how this thyroarytenoid muscle works. It brings the blocks, these two blocks, thyroid and the arytenoid, closer, and that is how it decreases the tension. Fine, so basically this is how the muscles of larynx work, and I hope you got the concept clear. And if you have any doubts, you can mention in the comment section. And if you like the video, if you like my videos, please do subscribe. Okay, thank you.